Good morning, Sailor Team. Just wanted to connect briefly this morning on a couple of little things. Thought it'd be a little bit easier than you having to read another email. So thought I would just do a quick little message here. First of all, I've had a couple of questions and I think some concerns, and I think that they're valid, number one. Number two, I think it's a common concern that we're hearing from the elementaries as well as with this new guideline with the 15 minutes that's cumulative. Doug, what are we doing? This is going to be really difficult to track, and I agree with you. And so one of the things that I'm going to challenge you to do, maybe today or in the next day or two, is number one, I think that we really need to look at the way that we have our desks set up in our classroom. I think we have to look at the spacing. Can we push them further to the walls or further to the edges to create more space? If we have some layer of rows, we really need to think about one row being on the left side, the next row behind being on the right side. If kids are sitting right in front of each other, in most cases, it's probably going to be within that 6-foot space. So I think number one, I'm going to challenge you to relook at your spacing that you have. Number two, we're going to have to think about groups, right? I think originally it was thought to say, okay, well, I'm going to mix my groups up so they're never with the same kids for longer than 15 minutes because they're constantly changing partners. Now I think our mindset does have to shift a little bit to smaller groups, these little pocket groups, if you will, to say, okay, if Doug gets shut down and he has COVID, I know that these are the 3 kids that he has worked with since day one. This is his group, his team within our larger cohort. And maybe those desks get pushed together because they're going to be inside 6 feet. But that's a way for us to regulate and to monitor. So if we do have to send kids home, hopefully it's only those 3 students or those 4 students that are in the group, not an entire cohort of 40. And so I think that myself included, have gotten lax in some of that. And we want kids to have that experience and to engage and to connect and to collaborate and to communicate and all those things. We're really going to have to think about how we're doing that and might have to sacrifice saying, okay, this is that small, tight group. And if one of them gets COVID, then we might have to shut down that group of 4, but at least it's not shutting down an entire cohort of 20 or 25. And with these new guidelines, we are at a higher risk of that. We've been pretty fortunate at this point when we look at where students are sitting and the engagement that they've had. We've only had to send home 0 or 1 or 2. But we know and understand that number is probably going to go up. And so what can we do to mitigate that number now and try to make that smaller? So if you have questions, come see me on it, but just wanted to throw that out there because we are going to have to kind of shift our thinking again just inside of our cohorts. With that, the other piece that I wanted to say with that, and I'm at fault, I didn't realize when we did our Makers Day Challenge, the kids were all over each other and wanting to watch kids shooting their pumpkins and all of those things. And I know that our social distancing was not at what it could be or should be. And I'll own that one. Miss C said to me, I was talking to her about it, and she said, yeah, but I got to hear kids laugh more than I've heard kids laugh in 6-8 months. And so I'm trying to hold on to that. I think the doorways, I love it. They're beautiful. They're awesome. I love that we're doing this. We just have to be a little more cautious of who we're sending out to work on it. Maybe it's that group of 3 or that group of 4, and they're together, and you get 10 minutes outside to work on it. But to have 6-8 kids all huddled around that doorway for 15, 20, 30 minutes, we've got to pause on that. We can't put our kids in that situation. So again, just refocusing and shifting our thinking just a little bit. 2 other quick things here, if I can read my writing. Number one, with today, it sounds like things are going pretty good. I am going to send out a quick form that is just, I want to know how many kids you were able to connect with today. So whether that was you had scheduled meetings, that's kids that dropped in, that's kids that emailed you, that's kids that you went into Go Guardian and saw that they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, so you shut them down and then had some sort of a 2-way communication. Just give me that number. That's all I'm asking for. Just give me the number. I'll ask for your name, and that's only to make sure that we get everybody. I'm not looking at, Teacher A saw 45 kids and Teacher B only saw 2. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is just make sure that we get everybody. It will help me support all of us in our building to say, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're having kids stay home parents, community, central office. We were able to connect with 347 kids today and support them. Whatever that number is, just know that that's why I'm doing it. That's why the form's coming out. And then the third thing, November 3, that Tuesday, content. I am expecting that we push out content that day. I'm going to leave it very broad for you. I think it's got to be somewhere between that sort of what we do on Wednesdays, 15-minute activity. But I also know that you can't do a full lesson because sometimes there's multiple components within that lesson that you're doing or having your crew leaders do during that 50-minute block of time. So yes, we are pushing out something. I think it has to be something that's in between that. I think it has to be more than what we're giving them on Wednesday. Maybe not as much as what we're pushing out in a normal day in-house. And I'll trust you with those things, but we are pushing something out on that Tuesday. And then the Wednesday will be a typical Wednesday, that 5 to 15 minute, which it sounds and looks like so many of you are doing a great job with anyway. So my short video has now turned into 6 minutes, and I apologize for that, but wanted to make sure that you all got that information. Have an awesome day.